part 2 of our coffee filter flowers. So if you haven't done part 1, you can do it right now. For this part, we're going to need the colored coffee filters you did in part 1 and pipe cleaners. It's great to also have a jar to put them in, and if you want to do some of the advanced flowers, a pair of scissors. If you're just now finishing the first part and you haven't let it dry overnight, you can take out a blow dryer and start drying them to get ready for part number 2. Hello everybody, I'm so excited to see all of your smiling faces. Are you guys ready to get started? Give me a thumbs up if you are. Excellent. Who can tell me which holiday is coming up? What's the next Jewish holiday? It's coming up this week. That's right, it's the holiday of Shavuot or Shavuot. And this is a very special holiday. Now, it's the holiday that's least celebrated among all the Jewish holidays, which is really sad because it's the most important holiday we have. It's the holiday that we got the most precious gift ever, the Torah. On Shavuos, we celebrate God giving the Torah on Mount Sinai to the entire Jewish people. And unlike the movie version, which is usually not accurate, if you really want the real story, don't watch the movie, read the book. So in the book, the Torah explains that God didn't give the Torah to just Moses on a mountain by himself, but rather God gave the Torah to the entire Jewish people. Every single man, woman, and child experienced a national revelation. They experienced God talking to them directly. And it was the only time in world history that happened. In fact, the Torah tells us it will never again happen in all of world history. But not only that, the Torah tells us no other people will ever even make up a story to say that a national revelation happened. Nobody will ever experience everyone experiencing God speaking to them directly. But that happened to us. It happened to our ancestors as they stood at the foot of Mount Sinai. This week on Shavuos, we celebrate that remarkable event in world history, the time where Hashem gave us the Torah. So today, in honor of Shavuos, we're going to do 2 special crafts. We're going to do one craft where we're going to start with a plain, simple mountain. It really is a cake. Okay. But it's an empty cake, and it has a little bit of frosting, but not really. It's certainly not a pretty cake. And we're going to put on beautiful grass and flowers. We're going to make it look so amazing. You know why? Because when it came time for Hashem to choose a mountain to give the Torah on, do you know what he looked for? He didn't look for a mountain that was big and strong. He didn't look for a mountain that was beautiful with flowers and grass. Do you know what Hashem did? He found the mountain that was most humble. A mountain that was simple, wasn't too big, wasn't flashy and beautiful with running hills of green grass and flowers. It was just a simple, plain mountain. And he chose to give the Torah on that mountain to teach us how important the characteristic of humility is. How important it is to be humble, not to brag. That even if we may have some incredible gifts, we should be proud of the fact that we have those gifts. But we need to recognize that those gifts don't make us greater than somebody else. Those are gifts that were given to us by Hashem as a present for us to use and utilize to fulfill our special mission. That's right. Every single one of us has something special to contribute to this world that nobody else can do. And that's why you were given the gifts that you have. I have my gifts and you have yours. And because we each have different gifts, we can accomplish different things. And that's okay. Those differences are what make us special. But we should never feel haughty. We should never feel a sense that we're better than somebody else because we have a special gift. And we learn that lesson and we remind ourselves of that lesson over and over again with the fact that Hashem chose Mount Sinai of all the mountains, the mountain that was simple and plain. But a special miracle happened. When it came time for Hashem to give the Torah, the mountain began to sprout beautiful green, lush grass. It began to sprout beautiful flowers. And the simple mountain was beautiful on the outside because it was really beautiful on the inside, because it had beautiful middos, beautiful character traits. So our first craft, we're going to make flowers to put on our special, beautiful Shavuos table. So let's take out all the materials we need. You should have your colored coffee filters. You can lay those out here. You should have your pipe cleaners. Your jar, we're not going to need quite yet. You can move that aside. And we're done with the squirt bottle, so you can get rid of that one. And if you'd like, you can get a pair of scissors. When we're done making the basic flowers, I'll show you a few techniques to make them a little bit more detailed and more lifelike, if you'd like. If you're looking for a way to just make it a little bit more challenging and create a product that's just a little better. So that's going to be optional, and we'll put those aside for right now. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a few of these coffee filters, however many you'd like, and the more you use, the fuller it will be. So if you remember in the video yesterday, I recommended making the coffee filters 3 at a time. And that way you can make a flower with 3 of them, and the colors are similar but darker. That way you can make the darker ones on the outside with the lighter ones on the inside, and it will look a little bit more flower-like. So if you take the 3 coffee filters, I have 1, 2, 3 together. We're going to fold it in half, just like that. And then we're going to fold it in half again. Now you can stop there, or you can fold it into half one more time. Up to you. Now at this point, we're going to take our pipe cleaner. We're going to wrap it around, leave a little bit, maybe half the length of your finger or the length of your finger. You're going to twist it around like this. Give it a couple of twists. And then take this part, the short part that's left over, and you're going to go around the base of the flower and the other part of the pipe cleaner. So at this point, it doesn't look like much of a flower. It looks more like a triangle. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin to open it up. So at this point, you can just open different parts. There's really no right or wrong way to do it, and you just pull the different layers, layer and layer and layer. Just keep on pulling it in different directions, in different ways. And you can just crumple it up just like that. And then before you know it, it begins to resemble a flower. And now you're done. That's one flower. And you can stick that in your vase just like that. Beautiful. And you can continue doing that. You can do it with just 2 if you want. You can see what 2 looks like. Do the same thing. Fold it in half. And then in half. And then in half again. Take your pipe cleaner. Twist it around the corner. Just to tie them all in. And then again, you twist, 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 twist. If you want to make the base a little bit stronger and you want to make it shorter, you can go around it again. So just go around like this, and then you can twist this way. Just keep on twisting it around and around and around and around. And that will give you a firmer base, even if it's shorter. And then we do the same thing. You just open it up. And this time we did 2 instead of 3, so you'll see it's not quite as full. You might like the way that looks, or you may not want to make as many. Either way, it works just fine. And then you have another beautiful flower. And you can stick that in your vase. So now we're going to get to some more advanced techniques. So for this next technique, we're going to take out 2 coffee filters. We could do them together. We're going to fold it in half, and then again in half. And this time, before we fold it or start to put the pipe cleaners on, we're going to cut out the shape of petals. So let's say for this one, we want to do 3 petals on each side. So we're going to just cut 1, 2, and what that's going to do is it's going to create 3 sections. So I have 1 section, 2 section, 3 section. And I'm not cutting it all the way, I'm just cutting it a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the shape of petals. So I just cut around like that. And then I can take that out. And then I can cut around like that. And at this point, if you guys are good with the flowers the way you have them, feel free. You can sign off now, or you can just hang out and watch the rest of this. But I'm going to continue cutting out the petals. Now once you've cut out the petals, you can open it up and see what it looks like. And this looks just fine. And now we're going to follow the same instructions. So we're going to cut it, fold it in half, fold it in half, fold it in half. And you can fold it either direction, doesn't really matter. We're going to put our tie on here. Just twist it around and around and around just to keep it in place. Again, we can always twist this to strengthen it if we want it to be a little more firm. But then we're going to open it up, and then when we open it up, we'll see the flower looks a little bit different because now we have the petals on the ends. So it's just a different way to make the flowers. Now, following the same technique, if you want to, you can do the same thing, but this time, instead of making those big petals, we can make very narrow, small ones. That will make the flower much more poofy. So this time we're going to fold it over and over, kind of like we did with the first ones. And for this, we're going to just cut out little triangles. And the nice thing is with real flowers, the leaves and the petals are all different, so it doesn't really matter if we get them exactly the same. In fact, we don't really want them to be the same. We'd like them to be different. And now when we're all done, we have lots of frilly pieces over here. So when we tie it together with a pipe cleaner, you'll see it'll look a little bit different and it'll give you some variation. Okay, again, you can twist it on the bottom if you want to keep it a little stronger and more firm. So as you can see, we did this with just 2 coffee filters. If you did it with a bunch more, it'll be a lot fuller. So we could take that now and stick it inside of our vase with the rest of our flowers. The last thing I want to show you before we go is how to make roses. And for this, you can really use a plain white filter that's not been colored if you don't want to color them, or if you haven't yet colored them and you still want to do something with us today. I'm going to just use the plain white filters. So to start, we're going to fold it in half, and then again in half. And we're going to cut a heart shape. So we're going to fold it one more time, and then we're going to cut a heart shape out of the coffee filters. So here you have your heart shapes. We don't need them connected, so you can separate them if you'd like. And the way we're going to do this is you're just going to wrap each heart around the others over and over again until it makes a rose. So for this part, I like to use a pen, but the truth is you don't need to. You can just wrap it around itself or wrap it around your finger. But you're going to just start with one of the flowers, one of the hearts, sorry. And you're going to just wrap it around and around. Okay? Now we're going to take the other heart, another one, and wrap it around and around. And you're going to keep on doing that over and over again until it makes a rose. If you want to, you can make these hearts different sizes. So instead of folding it like we did, you can just fold it once and then over itself again. And then if you do it that way, it'll make a much bigger heart, which will make bigger petals, which will just give you some variation. And then you can use the big ones on the outside, the small ones on the inside. But we just use the small ones all the same size, and you can do either one. It doesn't really matter. Moving along, while we do this, let's talk a little bit about the custom to eat dairy on Shavuos. It's one of the things that's most known about the holiday, but not a lot of people know why we eat dairy on Shavuos. We just know Shavuos is the time that we eat cheesecake and cheese blintzes. But why do we eat dairy? You could put the answer in the chat if you have an answer, although I can't really see it while I'm doing this. I'm not so good at multitasking, but the main reason given for why we eat dairy on Shavuos is that when we got the Torah on Mount Sinai, we got a whole new set of laws about preparing meat. We have to slaughter the meat properly, and we have to salt the meat. Not only that, when we have the laws of kosher, we realized that all of our pots and pans, everything we had, wasn't kosher anymore, so we couldn't use them. What makes it even more complicated is the fact that the first Shavuos, the Torah was given on Shabbat, on Shabbos. So that means that they really couldn't eat any meat products on that very first Shavuos. They had to eat dairy. And so we eat dairy to remind ourselves of that very first Shavuos. Another reason that's given, and there's a lot of reasons given for why we eat dairy, because we're Jews. Another reason given is that Torah is like milk. We talk about Torah being like milk and honey. And just as milk has the ability to sustain a person, it's talking specifically about a newborn baby, so too Torah gives us everything we need. And that's why we eat dairy on Shavuos. So we're finishing up our rows over here. Once you have a bunch of them and you're happy with the fullness of it, you can go around the different sides and try to open them up a little bit, just to get a look of, just to get a sense of what it looks like. And then, when you're done with your rows, you can take your pipe cleaner. For this, I would recommend going in the middle. Just twist it all the way around. That will lock it in place. And then you can go around and around and around just to tie it in place. And then you can use a second pipe cleaner if you'd like, just to make the stem. And you go around. And there you have your rose. And that's that. I hope you guys had a good time with me today. We made some beautiful crafts that can enhance your beautiful Shavuos table. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful and meaningful Shavuos now that you have your beautiful bouquet of flowers that I hope to see on your Shavuos tables. If you can send a picture of your holiday table with your Shavuos flowers on it, I would love that. Can I see them in the camera? Can you guys show me some of the flowers that you made today? Wow, beautiful. And let me see some of your Mount Sinai's. Who here can show me the Mount Sinai cake that you made? How did it come out? Hopefully you'll have that for dessert. Don't forget to look at the allergy information. These are dairy, but there is a custom to eat dairy on Shavuos, so hopefully your meal maybe is dairy as well, and you can have it for dessert, or maybe if your mom or dad lets, you can have it even earlier. I don't know if this is going to last until Shavuos in my house, but in any event, we had a great time. I hope you did as well. We hope to see you back live in person really, really soon. But if not, if you guys enjoyed these, please let me know. You could do it in the comments on Facebook, or you can send me an email. If you do like them, we'll start doing these a little bit more regularly. We're thinking maybe to do a Shabbox, a special Shabbat crate type of activity before Shabbat, maybe weekly or monthly. So let us know if you like them. If you do, we'll do more of them. Otherwise, we'll just wait until we can see you in person. I'm going to unmute you all now so you can talk. I'm going to hang up on the Facebook Live. So if you're on the Zoom call, you can now talk with each other. Everyone's unmuted. If you take it off of the spotlight view off of the speaker view, you should be able to see everybody who's on here and talk to some of your friends. Hope to see you back soon. Be well. Stay safe. Have a wonderful, wonderful Shavuos.